Welcome back to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. Everybody wants to eat healthier. It is selling food nowadays, as you see all the labels that say organic or healthy or natural. But what can you trust? Well, here to talk about that is Kent Messer, who is professor of behavioral economics at the University of Delaware. Thanks so much for being here. So what can you trust?
Well, I was told when I was growing up, you are what you eat, right? And so we have this intimate relationship with food. And so therefore, it's understandable that consumers want to eat things that are healthy. And they're going to look for labels all the time to find that, whether that's nutritional labels, calorie labels, and increasingly how that food came from the farm to the table. Can you trust the labels? You can trust some of the labels more than others, right? You can trust the back end about calories and ingredients. That's all really good. It's those front labels that sometimes get a little confusing. You mentioned one, natural, can be a little confusing to lots of people.
When it says natural, does that mean anything?
It means very little. There is no formal regulation on what can be called natural and what isn't allowed to be called that.
Well, how about healthy?
Nope.
Doesn't mean anything. So anybody can put healthy on the front of their product, doesn't mean it's healthy.
That's right, that's right.
Organic?
Organic has standards, right? Every food that's labeled organic has to pass certain standards that are certified. So that does have real meaning.
Gluten-free?
Means it doesn't have gluten, but that can be important for people who, really have allergies. But for other people, not very important.
So it doesn't cover anything else. You can't assume that something that says gluten-free is also healthy. It just doesn't have gluten in it.
Exactly.
So what do you look for?
Well, I think you want to find things that match your broad desires as a consumer, whether that's the price, the taste, and maybe about how you process. If something is important to you, if you're buying coffee and you want it to be, good for the environment and you want the Smithsonian label on it, that may be valuable for you. And so you could buy that, but be careful about buying things that just has a label that sounds good, but you don't know it means anything.
What do you do? When you go shopping and you want to eat healthier, what do you do?
Well, I work on just trying to get healthy foods, natural foods, but not naturally labeled foods, right? So I just want to get, my fruits, my vegetables. I want to be eating kind of straight from the source.
So a farmer's market, or going to a farm?
Or that's great. I love to do that. But even going to a grocery store and just buying fresh fruits and vegetables is what I'm going to be looking to do. And
so nothing processed, nothing canned. Is that what you're saying?
Canning can be great, but the processing is a big issue. Additional, sugars aren't going to be healthy for me. So I'm going to be looking for something that's good for me and good for my family.
You can't ever tell, right, if something if hormones has been used on the meat you're eating?
There is a number of things that do label hormone-free. You're seeing that a lot with chicken right now. They found that you don't really need to use the same level of hormones as has been traditionally used, so they do label that sometimes.
Does hormones cause a problem?
There's very little evidence to suggest that it does.
How about GMOs?
GMOs, the evidence is very much that there is not problems with GMOs.
There's no problems.
According to it's a controversial thing, right?
Right,
but if you look at those who study it, one of the most studied topics there are, that they say there are not problems that are causing human health problems or even really environmental problems. And yet there's definitely positives there. The amount of food that's being produced to feed the poor, that is clear. Even some things on soil health are good. The American Academy of Science has reviewed this, the Medical Association, and have come out and said there are not known problems to date on GMO use.
Because proponents of GMOs say watch out what you wish for because GMOs are feeding the world. A lot of GMO food right now is going to Africa where they need it desperately.
Yeah, well, even 70% of our food right now has GMOs in it, right? So most people don't know that, but if it's got corn or soy in it, and we're eating it as well right now.
So getting back to the labels, no GMOs doesn't necessarily make it healthier.
Oh yeah, that's right. It'll mean there's no GMOs, but you're probably paying more for ingredients that aren't making you any healthier.
So just get fresh vegetables. Just get fresh food as much as you possibly can. That's the key, is what you're saying.
I think so, yeah.
That was easy. All right,
a
thanks
pleasure.
a lot. Appreciate you coming in. Kent Messer is a professor of behavioral economics at the University of Delaware. That is the Delaware Way for this week. Go to metv2.com to replay segments from this show or previous shows, and leave your comments about what you've seen on today's show on our Facebook page, or you can reach me at Twitter at The Delaware Way or at Larry Menti. We may read your thoughts on a future show. I'm Larry Menti. We'll see you again next week.